If nothing else, we know two things about Donald Trump. He's got a lot of money and the bravado to go with it.
I think people want the truth. I think they're tired of politicians. They're tired of politically correct stuff.
That could be one of the reasons behind his bold claim of questioning President Obama's birth certificate. And now recent polls show him gaining against other potential presidential contenders.
I would much prefer that Barack Obama was a great president, but he's not a great president. He's one of our worst presidents ever. And something has to be done because it's only going to get worse.
In our wide-ranging interview, the Donald, as he is known, was in rare form, whether standing up for American business interests.
I look at what's happening with so many other nations just ripping off the United States. We're like a laughingstock.
Or who gets the oil in Iraq once the U.S. leaves.
We won the war. We take over the oil fields. There's no way on my watch that we leave those oil fields and let Iran take them over. That ain't going to happen.
That kind of talk is his public persona. But what about the softer side of Donald Trump? Well, we spent time talking about the part of his life that you might not know about, like his brother Fred, who died at the age of 42.
He had everything going. But when he went to college, for some reason he started drinking. That was before the drug age and before other things. But drinking is essentially, it's all just one big problem. But he drank, and he smoked also, but he drank, and he drank a lot, and he started drinking more and more, and he ultimately died of alcoholism. Life is fragile, but I have wonderful children, and from the time they were old enough to listen to me and speak, from a very young age, I used to say, no drinking at all, no drugs, no smoking. I even used to say no coffee, okay? And now I add no tattoos. It would be nice if people didn't get tattoos, but what are you going to do?
Talk to me a little bit about how you see God.
Well, I believe in God. I am Christian. I believe very strongly in God. I think that the Bible certainly is one of, if not, I mean, it is the book. It is the thing. I was raised, and I gave you a picture just now, and perhaps you'll use that picture. I found it from a long time ago. First Presbyterian Church of Jamaica, Queens. That's where I went to church. I'm a Protestant. I'm a Presbyterian.
Do you actively go to church, or is that something that is more just when you can?
Right. Well, I go as much as I can, always on Christmas, always on Easter, always when there's a major occasion. And during the Sundays, I'm a Sunday church person, I'll go when I can.
I understand a lot of people send you Bibles. Is that true?
Well, I get sent Bibles by a lot of people.
Where are all those Bibles anyhow now?
Well, actually, we keep them in a certain place, a very, very nice place. But people send me Bibles. There's no way I would ever do anything to do negative to a Bible. So what we do is we keep all of the Bibles. I would have a fear of doing something other than very positive.
That's the kind of talk that will get the attention of evangelical voters. However, you will also need to build trust on some key issues, like abortion.
Well, one thing about me, I'm a very honorable guy, okay, and I'm pro-life, but I changed my view a number of years ago, and one of the reasons I changed, one of the primary reasons, a friend of mine, his wife was pregnant, in this case married, and she was pregnant, and they were going to, he didn't really want the baby. He ends up having the baby, and the baby is the apple of his eye. He said it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to him. And you know, here's a baby that wasn't going to be let into life. And I heard this and some other stories, and I am pro-life.
So those stories did come around and change your view?
They changed my view as to that, absolutely. Yes.
I want to ask you about Roe v. Wade. Do you have any opinions on Roe v. Wade?
I really don't. I mean, it's standing there. We'll see what happens, but I am pro-life, and I'll defend that.
All right, so in terms of it being wrongly decided or unconstitutional, that's something...
It's really something that will evolve. It has evolved. It will evolve. It'll keep being evolved, but I'm on the side of pro-life, and I'll stick that way.
Gay marriage, you're against, I know you're for traditional marriage, against gay marriage. What about civil union?
To be honest with you, it's as far as civil unions are concerned, I haven't totally formed my opinion, but there can be no discrimination against gays. I'm against gay marriage. I took a lot of heat for that.
Radical Islam is a huge issue. It's a huge issue in the country, but to evangelicals, this is a bread and butter issue.
Right.
It's a big deal. You said one time in an interview that and just recently, that you said on O'Reilly actually, there's a Muslim problem in this world. What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, Bill O'Reilly asked me, is there a Muslim problem? And I said, absolutely yes. In fact, I went a step further. I said, I didn't see Swedish people knocking down the World Trade Center.
There are some concerns about the teachings of the Quran. You have problems with some of those teachings?
Well, I'm certainly not an expert, to put it mildly, but there's something there that teaches some very negative vibe. There's a lot of hatred there someplace. Now, I don't know if that's from the Quran. I don't know if that's from, someplace else, but there's tremendous hatred out there that I've never seen anything like it.
Even if Trump might sound solid on many social issues, he carries the potential baggage of 2 failed marriages.
I'm a very hard worker, and I've always said it's very difficult for a woman to be married to me because I work. I work all the time.
Was there a lesson you learned in those 2 failed marriages?
Well, I think the lesson is, and they were both wonderful women, I think the message is that, you do have to devote the requisite time to your marriage.
So is there an opening for Trump among evangelicals? Top strategist Ralph Reed says, quote, there's a nascent and growing curiosity in the faith community about Trump. Family Research Council President Tony Perkins is intrigued as well.
Donald Trump is not talking like a typical politician. He's actually answering questions and stepping out. He has made very clear he does not support same-sex marriage. He has said he's pro-life. And so that has gotten the attention of social conservative voters. And I think that gets him to the next step where they begin to look and see, could I really support him?
They know how important this election is that's coming up. And I think that they want to get somebody in that's going to win. And perhaps they look at me as somebody that can win.
In a GOP field void of a frontrunner, anything's possible. David Brody, CBN News, in New York City.